Reddit ask me anything. I break into hospitals and steal things for a living. Ask me anything. For work I get to break into hospitals and steal things. It's referred to as a physical penetration test. It's an integral part of a risk assessment. I routinely pick locks, steal access badges, impersonate medical personnel, harvest data and credentials, crack passwords, and utilize various social engineering tactics. Ask me anything. You said in the other thread that you got tased once. How did that happen? I was performing after hours assessment at a business center of a hospital. During the day I unlocked a first floor window. That night, at about 1:30 AM I snuck back in through the window. There was a bank next door and the security guard saw me and called the police. Police called hospital security. I was sitting at a workstation that was left unlocked when they entered. An overweight, overzealous security guard pointed the taser at me. I calmly said I had a reason to be there and reached in my jacket pocket for the business card of the hospital's chief of security. The guard lunged forward with a taser. It caught me under the forearm that was reaching in my jacket. It clenched so ferociously that I smacked myself in the face and cartwheeled out of the chair I was sitting in. It stung pretty good, but wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Maybe because I flinched so damn hard. He didn't fire the prongs. Thank God. I just started yelling the chief of security's name over and over until he got the message. CSO was called. He was annoyed even though he was aware the assessment was taking place. Neither party was in any trouble. The guard apologized but kept saying he was just doing his job. Maybe I shouldn't have reached so fast, but I think he was overeager with the taser. Edit. I realize now that I failed to understand the guard's perspective at the time. Although I thought the situation was calm, he did not. It was my fault I got tased. I now always ensure that the chief of security informs someone that is on duty during a nighttime assessment. How long have you done this? How does a person get a job like this? I've only been doing this since May of 2012, when I graduated from university. Get a degree in information systems or the like. Specialize in technical security. If you really want to get into auditing, realize there is more to it than the physical assessment. That's only about 30% of what I do. Get familiar with regulatory compliance. The big ones are PCI DSS for banking and HIPAA for healthcare. Part of auditing is policy review, which generally sucks. Technical services of an MSSP are rather fun. Google, event monitoring, vulnerability scanning, pen testing. Edit. Also get certifications such as CompTIA Plus, CISA, CISSP, CCNA Security. What happens if you're caught? If you're found out, how do you convince them that you aren't a real thief? Any run-ins with police? Also, what happens to a hospital if you get away clean? I usually just name drop with CIO or security officer, then they call to verify. Only one run-in with Popo, explained above. Nothing happens to the hospital when I find breaches. In fact, every hospital I've audited has gotten at least one breach. Because I am their security partner, I am not obligated to report to OCR. I just advise them on how to improve things. I've been visiting medical companies the last few months, advising them on securing a portion of their technology. It is absolutely amazing how many simply don't understand or ignore HIPAA rules. I so badly want to say buy my shit or I'll call OCR. Do you ever feel this way? Every damn day. Especially with the new willful neglect clause. If a breach is considered willful neglect, as many are, there is an instant fine of up to 50k per breach. My boss has a real way of striking fear into the heart of CFOs. What sort of breaches are considered willful neglect? Examples? There are two types of willful neglect. The first is when a company clearly ignores the HIPAA law but corrects their mistake within the given amount of time. Minimum fine $10,000 per incident with annual maximum of $1.5 million for repeat violations. Maximum fine $50,000 per violation with annual maximum of $1.5 million for repeat violations. The second type of willful neglect is when a company ignores the HIPAA law and does not correct their mistake. Minimum fine $50,000 per incident with annual maximum of $250,000 for repeat violations. Maximum fine $50,000 per incident with annual maximum of $250,000 for repeat violations. Source. Have you ever had to perform the duties of the person you were impersonating? Never. It would be unethical and possibly dangerous for me to interfere with patient care. What is the deepest you've had to get into a character? When you say that you impersonate medical personnel. I impersonate CNAs quite a bit. Just need a pair of scrubs and push around a wheelchair or laundry bin. Occasionally I will grab a lab coat if I'm in a physician office or lounge area. Those guys usually know their co-workers though, so that is risky. Honestly, random IT contractor works the best because it gets me access to systems and restricted areas. Do you do your best work while wearing a tactical turtleneck? Only if it's a slightly darker black. Sounds like a very interesting job. Most exciting hospital break-in attempt? There are a couple stories above, but here is one that got my blood pumping. I was searching a lady's unlocked office for keys and phi. While I was pocketing the keys and cell phone in her top drawer, I hear someone try to open the door. I locked it when I began my search. She began knocking on the door and saying hello. I thought about hiding in the bathroom, but that would lead to an awkward conversation if she found me. I just stood there frozen. Eventually she walked away, presumably to have someone unlock her door. I took the keys and bolted down the nearest stairwell. Regarding social engineering tactics, is there a line you're not allowed to cross? As far as manipulating staff for information, you have to outright lie to get anywhere, obviously, but I imagine your employer has rules regarding how badly you can play people. Honestly, not really. I outright lie every day, though it is not really malicious. Asking nicely and pretending to be a friendly vendor or something usually arouses less suspicion than acting all secret agent-like. What does your family think of your job? It's pretty normal really. I travel a lot and usually have fun stories. They think it's interesting, but not too out of the ordinary. Really. Edit. Terrible English. I'm not even going to change it. Can you break into the safe? I wish. God, that thing is intriguing. I bet it's full of dong pics drawn in Ms. Paint. You are the coolest guy ever. At what point do you reveal who you really are? Do you deflect being an imposter the first few times until you are really caught in deep shit? Where is the line? Is there a safe word or something you use so that they know you are telling the truth this time and not just someone trying to impersonate an information security consultant? Thanks for the Ask Me Anything. Really interesting. The line comes whenever the employee finally decides I'm not who I say I am. Generally I will keep pushing the lie until they call me out and go above me to verify. Would the person who caught you get a special mention in your report? Or vice versa, would someone who should have found you out get mentioned as not doing their job properly? Has anyone ever been fired for essentially not asking you for proof? No one ever gets mentioned personally, one way or the other. I will make note of the department. Sometimes drop a hint if it is a special mention. For instance, the receptionist at the Addiction Recovery Center denied the assessor access and verified identity with information services, in accordance with policy. Bro, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.